I think the important thing to remember is what a relationship's about. And usually we'd say it's give and take. And my response is that most times we're taking. We don't think about giving. And I think when there's a relationship, whether it's with my siblings or my parents or my spouse, if I enter that relationship with that attitude of giving, that relationship is going to work. If I enter any connection, any relationship with just an attitude of taking, and taking, then there's going to be a breakdown there. But in order to be able to give, I need to have the capacity in myself in which I am full. And so before I think about other relationships, I need to think about my relationship with myself, my own inner being. Every religious tradition has spoken about the soul being eternal. But where we are just caught up with the physical material identity, we forget about the eternity of the spirit, the immortality of the spirit. And so the body has come from dust, from the earth, it's going to return to the dust. We've been told this, and it's a fact.
It's a huge pleasure for me to introduce today on our podcast Heart Life Rhythm an extremely special guest, Sister B.K. Jayanti. Sister Jayanti is the director for the Brahma Kumari World Spiritual University for the Europe Zone, as well as the additional administrative head of the Brahma Kumari World Spiritual University. And aside from that, she is a hugely sought after spiritual speaker and an author of several spiritual books. We had a very short time with her on the podcast, and I've been trying to get her on our podcast for a long time now. And so we had to seize the opportunity, despite the fact that she had just disembarked from a long haul flight. What I retained from our conversation was the sheer amount of spiritual strength and power that she has accumulated over the years. Her simplicity, her deep humility, her regard for people, and just the fact that everything she does is so light and full of light also. I think this episode will no doubt teach or help us understand life a little bit better, and I am sure you will enjoy this podcast. Om Shanti, Sister Jayanti. It's such a huge privilege and honor to have you today on Heart Life Rhythm.
Thank you. It's a joy to be with you.
So I'm going to jump straight into the questions because of limited time. We live in a very busy world where everybody's running like mad. Whenever the conversation about spirituality and meditation arises, one thing that often pops up is, I am far too busy for this, or I will get to it when I'm retired. What are some tips you would like to share with those very busy people? Because we all know meditation is very much needed now more than ever.
I have a question for the busy people. If you have a device, whether it's your phone or whether it's anything else, and it's not charged up, how valuable is it? It doesn't do the purpose that you want it to do. In the same way, if I say I'm too busy to recharge my own inner battery, I'm not going to perform efficiently either in my role at home as a parent or a spouse or a friend to others, or at work. I'm not going to be able to do what I need to do in the best way possible. And so in order to actually complete my business, whatever it may be, and to have the energy to do that in the right way, I can't say I'm too busy, but I have to prepare myself. And the preparation has to be through silence, reflection, contemplation, getting in touch with myself so that then I use the inner power and energy through the rest of the day. So I'd say that if you're too busy now, well, you'll come to a state of burnout. or you'll come to a state of disheartenment or discontentment because you won't have the energy to do what you need to do. And so recharging your own inner battery equips you to be able to do what is needed.
Wow, such a wonderful answer. I'm sure people are paying heed to this. I have another burning question. So my generation of peers of my age, girls and boys, have a lot of questions about marriage. We know that some marriages are flourishing, people are happy, whilst others end up in divorce, in family disintegration, etc. What is your take on marriage in 2024? And for those young people who are extremely keen to get into marriage and create a family, do you have any particular insights?
Whatever state of life I may be in, a teenager or a young adult or older than that, I think the important thing to remember is what a relationship's about. I usually say it's give and take. And my response is that most times we're taking. We don't think about giving. And I think where there's a relationship, whether it's with my siblings or my parents or my spouse, if I enter that relationship with that attitude of giving, that relationship is going to work. If I enter any connection, any relationship with just an attitude of taking, and taking, then there's going to be a breakdown there. But in order to be able to give, I need to have the capacity in myself in which I am full. And so before I think about other relationships, I need to think about my relationship with myself, my own inner being, and then also the relationship with the divine. Because for humans, I can't receive an unlimited source, an unlimited supply. If I give myself time each day for silence or reflection, then in that time, connecting with the source of truth and love and joy and peace, I'm going to be able to receive for myself, and then I can give to others very easily. That relationship with humans is then going to flourish. It's not going to die down. And so instead of coming into a connection taking, can I, instead of that, think about what can I give?
I think it's so profound what you're saying. As you said, I think we have to be full and fulfilled, both alone and be wholesome on your own before you can start thinking about entering an equation with another soul. Very, very enriching. Thank you so much. As doctors, as medical doctors, we sometimes see patients that we've fought very hard, treated as best as we can, who worsen, who get worse despite best treatment, and who are nearing end of life. And it can be an incredibly scary place for the patients, their families, but also upsetting for the doctor who's been looking after them. Twofold question. First, what do you think happens after death? And secondly, how do you have any insights or advice about how families and doctors can help ease people into this journey, accompany them through this journey?
Every religious tradition has spoken about the soul being eternal, but when we are just caught up with the physical material identity, we forget about the eternity of the spirit, the immortality of the spirit. And so the body has come from dust, from the earth, it's going to return to the dust. We've been told this, and it's a fact. You can bury it or you burn it, it certainly doesn't have any life in it. And so the spark of life is the soul that lives here in the center of the forehead. And if I come to the understanding of the soul, then I know that I am immortal, I am eternal, and my journey is going to continue. Then how that journey continues is taken up differently by different religions, so that's another subject. But certainly there's a continuity of the spirit of the soul. And then in terms of the preparation for another, Om Shanti, the greeting we use, means Om, I am, Shanti, peace, I am peace. So maybe if the person who's leaving is a believer, you can talk to them about the inner being of light, the soul, and connecting with the source, the supreme soul. And it's very simple. they'll understand very quickly, because so many of the hurdles that they would have had otherwise have been dealt with at that point. So the first step is to make them aware of the soul and to connect with the divine, but also ask them if they can forgive whoever it is that has hurt them. Because lack of forgiveness holds the soul down and doesn't allow it to leave with dignity and peace. And so, if I'm in that state of near death, I have to forgive so that I can become free. If I haven't forgiven, then it's like I'm being held as a prisoner by the situation or the person who I haven't forgiven. And so, let go. It happened, I learned a lot from it, whatever was a trauma caused by another. But at this moment, let me let go and forgive. But also, let me forgive myself. If there are things I've done that I shouldn't have done, can I, at this moment, put them in front of God and say, I salute you, and I give you all the things that I have done, knowing that you will forgive me. And so to be able to forgive the self and to put that in front of God. And the third thing would be, if there's still a possibility and I have wronged others, can I meet them and seek their forgiveness? So the whole area of forgiveness is quite a big one, because we carry so much burden, and the burden is either because we have sinned or others have sinned against us, but we're not willing to acknowledge that and let it go. So I see that that's a whole big area that somebody who's enlightened can share with another very gently and help them become free. The third thing is just to have an appreciation of all that has happened in their life. However uncomfortable someone's life has been, there have been moments of joy, and there has to be moments of gratitude. So just that appreciation of the people who have been in my life and who have done so much for me.
Wow, wonderful answer. The world, as we said, is a rapidly evolving place. We're talking about there's wars, climate change, there's artificial intelligence, there's so many things happening. How do you see our world evolving in the next 10, 20 years?
I see that it's difficult to put a time frame, but there are two energies. One is the descending energy, the negative forces. They seem to be getting stronger and stronger. The other is the ascending energy, which is the interest in meditation, the interest in spirituality, the interest in holistic health. All these are matters that people didn't think about 25, 30 years ago. So there are both these opposing forces at work, which is why we see the tension and the struggle. But the question is, which area do I want to focus on? The descending energy is going to pull me down, but if I don't want that, I have to be careful to protect myself and take God's help so that I'm not influenced by negativity. The positive energy I have to generate by keeping my thoughts, my feelings, my attitude, my perception, everything very clean with a pure heart, so that then I can be on that side that is ascending and I can help others around me do the same.
We've reached the end of the podcast. This is called Heart Life Rhythm Podcast. What is one key message that you would like the people watching this conversation today to carry forever in their heart?
To remember that your original state of being is of love and peace and truth. And if you keep this in your awareness, that's what your life will be filled with.
Sister Jayanti, it's truly been a huge honor speaking to you today. Thank you so much for your insights, your rich experience, and for everything that you're doing throughout the world for so many years to help people achieve peace. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Thank you.
Thank you.